Hey, grades K through 5 parents. Welcome to our Student Success School, our YouTube channel, where I help parents confidently speak up on their child's behalf without being seen as the angry parent so that they can help their child achieve academic success. And today is no different, all right? Today is no different. We're going to be talking about how your child learns today. And so if it's a little noisy in the background, on a little mini vacay. And so don't mind the noise. I'm going to do my best to talk loudly so that you can hear me. But I have something to say today. All right. So jump into this class. Make sure you have a pen, something to write with, something to take notes with, your phone, tablet, laptop, something, because we're about to get into this topic today, how your child learns. Okay. How your child learns. How your child learns. And so, welcome. If I didn't say it, my name is Portia Williams, also known as the Student Success Coach. If I didn't introduce myself to you properly, welcome. Um, I should say this: the Student Success Coach and author, right? Recently published my very first book entitled "Take Charge." I have the proof here. Take Charge is just the proof. The copy is online, Amazon. It is also in my bio. You can go get it, go check it out. Especially if you're a grades K through 5 parent and you need or want to know how to help your child achieve academically. This book is for you. It's super amazing. It's a workbook attached to it. So you're going to get the shifts that you need in order to help your child achieve academic success and get this book. So, coach, author, if you wanted to know a little bit more about me. But I really want to get into this class. I want to get into this class today because, again, as I said, this topic is near and dear to my heart. For those of you who don't know, right, I'm a coach because I just totally love entrepreneurship. I love education as well, right? Education is tied to my gifts and my talents, my God given gifts and my God given talents. But if you don't know this, right, I really struggled academically. Like I struggled growing up academically, especially like grades K through 5. I struggled a lot. And I don't think that my parents knew, right, really how to help me, right, in terms of this class, really how I learned, right, and really how to help me learn, right. I don't think my parents knew how to help me. And the truth is, I didn't know either. Like I didn't know. And so I don't even put it all on my parents. Like I had no idea the best way that I learned, right? And so I want to mention this to you because I struggle a lot academically, comprehension, reading, writing, math, like anything that you can think of outside of being a social butterfly and having great interactive skills, right? I really struggled academically. It was really a problem. And so I'm sharing this because if you are a parent, right, and you don't know how your child learns, this class is extremely important. This class is extremely important, right? Very important. Whether your child, I'm going to say this, whether your child is struggling academically or not, it's imperative for you to know how your child learns. And I would even say, if you don't know if your child knows how they learn, I think this master class is super important and you should stick around and stay. All right. So let's get into it. We're talking about how your child learns today. That's what we're going to be talking about. All right. So I want to start with this. I'm sure, right, not knowing how your child learns and really not understanding how your child learns is probably the number one reason that your child is not achieving academically, right? So if you're a parent and your child isn't achieving academically, right, or there's something that you desire to see more of your child, I believe this is probably one of the number one reasons, right? One of the number one reasons. Honestly, I would say number one, right? This will help somebody. Could be your family dynamic, like what's going on in your household. I should say family dynamic. What could be possibly going on in your household that could be affecting child. And then I would say number two, not knowing their learning style. All right, those would be the top two. So if the house has chaos, right, it's full of fighting and confusion, like whether fist fighting, arguing, right, violence, even if people don't even speak together, like passive aggressiveness, subliminal, like aggression, those things can affect your child academically, right? We're not necessarily going to talk about that today, but that could be number one. And then number two, not knowing your child's learning style. And I really believe if you know your child's learning style, they might can wiggle through like their parents arguing, fussing, and fighting. They might can make it through that just by simply knowing their learning style. So what we're going to talk about today can change the trajectory of what your child's academic success looks like, right? And even if you don't understand, right, how your child learns, it goes deeper, right? Because I think this is why it matters, right? As I'm taking my notes, because I have my notes on the phone, right? This is why it matters. Number one, you're not understanding who your child is academically, all right? You're not understanding who they are academically, and that's what matters. I'm gonna share this because it's so important. This is like free coaching, okay? It's about to be good. I gotta find something to put my arms on. There is a difference between your child and them as a student. There's a difference. There is a difference between your child and who they are as a student. And I'm gonna go a little bit deeper into that in just a moment. But it's important that you know who your child is academically because who they are academically is who they are as a student. And you might not necessarily see who they are as a student as who they are as a child and who they are as a child versus who they are as a student. I'll give you an example. So I have a baby nephew, right? I have four nephews and one niece, right? Two of them are great, a great niece, a great nephew, and then the others are, I think I said that right. No, I have five. So I have five nephews and one niece. And two of them are greats. And then the rest are like nephews, right? So I have, in some, three nephews and then one great nephew and one great niece. And I always say this about my baby nephew, okay? I have a toddler nephew. I have a toddler niece. I have a baby nephew. And I have two grown nephews. And my two grown nephews are my favorite nephews. They're my favorite grown nephews. My two toddler niece and nephew are my two favorite niece and nephew. And then I have a baby nephew who's my favorite. So everybody's my favorite based upon where they are because they all are different, right? Now, I tell one of my sisters that my nephew, right, my baby nephew, does not act the same way he does with her when he's with me. He just doesn't. And that same thought I want you to consider when it comes to your child. Have you ever been somewhere you're like, oh my God, your child so behaved, and you're like, child, please. They're terrible, right? You feel like they're terrible. And everybody else thinks that they're just a doll, right? Or just so much of a blessing to be around, just a pleasure to be around, right? And you see something totally different. That's what I want you to consider when it comes to who your child is academically. They may not be the same as who you know as a child. When they step into that classroom, they might be totally different than who they are, right? When they're at home, rightfully so. Think about it like this. I'm gonna bring it straight to your door. Who you are as a mom, who you are as a dad is not who you are when you go to work, right? You might be a supervisor, but you're not literally bathing people or making sure they get in the tub, right? Unless you're in like the healthcare field, right? But your role at home is different from your role at work, right? Maybe your role in the church is different from your role at home. Uh, your role. I don't know, as a community member, may be different from your role at work, right? One may be volunteer, one you're there for the check. It's different. And that's what I want you to think about with your child. Same person, right? The same person, but those roles are different, and how they show up and the responsibility that they have or have not, or can have or can't, right? Or just the skill can be different. So I want to make sure you know why this matters. Number one, if you don't understand how your child learns, right, you're not going to know who they are academically, and that's the student. That's the student. You probably know them up and down, back and forth, who they are as a child. But who they are as a student, it might surprise you, right? It might surprise you. And some things may not automatically just transfer over, right? Who they are as a child, or you might see them totally different in a way, or you might see some similarities, but you still need to know them. Still need to know them, right? Still need to know them. And I'm reminded of this. Like I think about like family members that I have. People who don't know them see them in a different light. People who don't know me see me in a different light. People who know me, right? So just my point to say is just different roles, you might see different things. And that's important academically to know what you're gonna see from your student and what you're gonna get from your student and know who they are, right? It's so important. And then lastly, why this matters, right? Because I don't want to be too long winded. You need to know what they do well. And I am convinced with my 20, 26, my 16 plus years in and around the area of education, I am telling you from what I've seen, every child has something that they do well. Every child has something that they do well. Every single child. I'm talking even if they're in a sped class, they have something that they do well. When you know what that is, you can use that to help your child achieve academically. Okay? You can use that to help your child achieve academically. All right? You can use that to help your child to achieve academically. And I think that is so important because that will work. Okay? That will work. And so I want to shift this because I don't want to hold this too long, right? What you need, right? If you don't know or don't understand who your child academically, here's what you need to do. Number one, I want you to focus on getting to know your student. Remember, I explained that. I need you to get to know your student, not your child. I'm sure you know them better than anybody else on the earth outside of God, other than God. You know them, right? I need you to get to know your student. I need you to get to know your student. And here is how you start, right? Here is what you're going to do. Number one, this is how you get to know your student. One, you learn their challenge. Two, you learn their strengths. And then three, you learn their learning style. Okay? You learn their learning style. And I think this is so important because we're so many parents don't move and they get stuck, right? Is that they don't learn, right? How to get to know their child, their student, excuse me. They don't learn how to get to know them. They don't. They don't learn that. They don't learn how to know their student. And what ends up happening, right, is they don't understand how their child learns, right? They don't know their students, so they don't know how their child learns. And then they don't know who they are academically. So they treat them like they would treat them at home, and they're not the same. And they're not the same. And I can go all into that. Just imagine you being treated at work, somebody telling you maybe what to do at home, right? There's a difference. There's a difference. There is a difference. Your child is a little professional. They have skill. They do have maybe have some challenges. They have just as much skill, if not more, right? And they have a style and a way of learning that will help their grades improve. And so I want you to make sure that you are getting to know your student, right? And if this sounds like you and you want to get to know your student, right? Remember what I shared earlier, right? I believe that this is the number one reason, one of the number one reasons that your child probably isn't achieving academically, especially if they aren't achieving academically, right? And so if it sounds like you and you want to get to know your student, right? You don't have to do this alone. I will help you get to know your student. It's what I absolutely love to do. It is one of my favorite things to do. All right. I just ask that you book a session with me. I have sessions available this week to help parents, right, who want to get to know their students. So just book a session with me, right? All you have to do is click the link in my bio, and I will begin to serve you, and I will be glad. Okay, I will be glad to serve you. So as we close, right? No, you have to get to know your student. You got to get to know your student, especially if they're not achieving and they're failing academically. You don't have to do this alone. Okay, you do not have to do this alone. I will help you. So I feel like I did good with my timing, right? I thought I was gonna go over and I did. So I'm feeling really good. If you have any questions, right, feel free to put them in the comment and I will address them, right? And book a session with me. Book a session with me. I will begin to help you, right? Really get to know what is going on with your child academically and really how to get to know them. All right. So let's figure it out together. Let's see who your child is academically and then what needs to happen next so that they can achieve academic success. Love you all much. Have a great, powerful Monday. Bye.